Okay. This afternoon I just gave you 2 files about the food recall. Actually, me have 3 minutes to introduce our plan. You know why there is food recall? Sure. What does it mean recall? Something wrong with the food products, and maybe the company, maybe the officers should bring those products back to the company, maybe destroy it, maybe repackage it, maybe something. But based on certain reason, maybe the product is unsafe, maybe the labeling is wrong. They here I mean the businessman. The business should recall, should recycle or bring those products back. Then we call it recall. Actually, recall is one term, withdraw is another term. There are different definitions, but unfortunately in Taiwan, the definition in Taiwan is not so clear. I will let you know that. And later, the subtitle is a manual for the food industry in Taiwan. And here is the language in our language. Okay, then next, the translator and all the first student, she is very special because she already got the master's degree from the US, and then she re-entered the college to our department because she want to be a dietitian. But very I cannot say lucky because she was working very hard, studying very hard, and she passed the exam of dietitian, and now she is a dietitian now. Okay, then it's me here, is my name here. And so here I want to encourage you in the future, if you have chance, if you have time, you can ask a professor to do this kind of research or publication. And we did this because we searched 2 recall guidance from New Zealand, and those guidance is, how can I say that? The guidance is very good. The quality is very good, and that is under open licensed. Okay, what does it mean, open licensed? Open licensed, it means it's not similar to the traditional copyright. Everyone can own this book. Everyone can even sell this book because no restriction on commercial purpose. Only buy. And in other words, I can do the translation and sell the book, and I don't need to get the permission from the New Zealand authority or the food safety, the government. I don't need, because they already released the rights about commercial use, about to change it, to demonstrate it. Maybe different country has different copyright details, but roughly there are several rights should be restricted, and they remove the restriction. Just only one. When you use the New Zealand guidance, you need to cite this source is from New Zealand Food Safety, one of the government organization. Okay, and now I want to introduce this. And my questions, this step-by-step food recall guidance for food businesses. And the other document, let me show you here. The other document, the title is Simulated Food Recall Guidance for Food Businesses. Okay, first question. What's the difference between food recall and simulated recall? What's the difference? or I know food recall is a real recall. Simulated recall is not a real recall. Okay, good answer, very good answer. Okay, besides that, any question? Any better answer? Any better answer? Okay, let me explain here. Food recall, what does it mean? Something wrong with the products. Maybe unsafe factors. For example, later the examination found the product has been contaminated with some pathogens or chemicals like pesticide or heavy metal ions, something like that. They need to recall. They need to recall. By the established guidance, then they can follow the guidance to do the recall. That's one thing. And if everything is very good, no recall requirement, they need to run the simulated recall. What does it simulated? Because some government ask larger business or some certifications. For example, have you ever heard about this? ISO 22000, SQF, and TQF in Taiwan, and FSSC 22000. Those are certifications, famous international certifications, and those certificates not from government requirement, not from the law. No, they are non-government organization. They established some rules, and as long as you want to pass the certification, you need to follow the rules here. And they ask the business at least run one simulated recall. But actually, simulated recall is New Zealand English, but in American it's called mock recall, M-O-C-A, mock, like a mock exam. Actually, I prefer to use mock recall, but here I just follow the term simulated. You know, simulated is a simulated, not a real. Try to imitate artificial, very similar. A make up recall. Again, simulated recall, it means they need to follow the rules about certification. For example, here. 1 minute, please. Let me show you here. Okay, if I search for FSSC 22000, here is official website about this. But this time, I think that Wikipedia is a better information source. Oh, not ISO 22000. Okay, what does it mean? ISO 22000 is a food safety management system by International Organization for Standards. We call it ISO, but you may feel strange. Why International I, Organization O, 4, ignore the 4 because it's not an important term. Standardization S, IOS. Why is ISO? I believe you already heard about the ISO, this term. I got information from a consultant. He said because ISO was originally from French, but in English it's IOS, but we get used to call it ISO. Okay, which is outcome focused providing requirements for any organization in the food industry with objective to help improve overall performance in food safety. Okay, food safety not quality. Again, they don't emphasize the quality, but the recent clauses ask them to pay a little bit of attention on quality. But in the past, only food safety. Quality is not safety. They are two issues. What does it mean, quality? Quality is, oh, it smells really good. It tastes very good, very smooth, very juicy, or very hard enough, or crispy, something like this. It's quality. But what about safety? Oh, your product has been contaminated with chemical compounds that is dangerous for human, or your source of the grains, the soybean, has contaminated with aflatoxins. That is a mycotoxin produced by molds. That is about the food safety. Okay, let's come back here. And those certifications ask them at least to run simulated recall once a year. Okay, so now we can study this first. Okay, step-by-step recall guidance for food businesses. Okay, and here we announce that this is non-official translation in Taiwanese Mandarin. Chinese actually, I was corrected again when I used the Chinese. American teacher, how about Mandarin? I said why? She says Mandarin is more precisely to describe your language. Oh, okay. Then I check the dictionary. Yeah, Mandarin is better. But there are two kinds of Mandarin. One in China, one in Taiwan. We call it Taiwanese Mandarin. Okay, and this document is prepared by Ministry of Primary Industries. Okay, and by the New Zealand Food Safety. This guidance is for food business operators who may need to recall their food products. Okay, what is a food recall? If something has gone wrong with your food product, you may need to recall it. And there are several levels. The first, a consumer level recall. The second one, a trader level recall. Okay, what does it mean? Consumer level recall. It means it can be serious because consumers already bought those products, or they can reach the product from the supermarket. And the other recall is a trader label. What does it mean? Okay, which involves removing affected product from the supply chain yet to reach the consumers. I think it's better. That's it. Okay. We get it. Okay. If you decide to recall, follow those steps. Okay. First one, investigate, inform, assess, check, communicate, and audit. There are 6 steps. Actually, in Taiwan, it's very hard to find an open document like this one. Thus, we did a translation. I think it's a good way to contribute to our country. Sure, if you want to do a translation, you can do that. Okay, who should be involved in the recall? Senior staffs responsible for making decisions should be involved, as well as staff involved with operations, marketing and communication, and sales and distribution. Yeah, you know, when we read this about the English grammar, like this one, and if we write this kind of sentence, we will be yelled by our teachers. How can you that? But it's not about the grammar, because you know, in Taiwan we learn English not a smart way. Redundancy, but you see, with operation, marketing, and communication, I think this one is describe the staff And the second, and sales and distribution. Maybe next time I can copy and paste those sentences to the grammar checking software. But sure, they're English native speakers, but I'm not. Okay, and next. And there are steps. First step, investigate. Yeah, sure. If you're interested to learning that in our language, you can compare them. Investigate in our language is called 调查. Gather information, understand the problem, identify affected products, hold any stock still on hand. What does it mean? You need to hold the products still on hand. Some already distributed to the downstream, maybe the supermarket, maybe somewhere. And inform, tell your verifier. If you don't have verifier or cannot contact with yours, tell New Zealand Food Safety. Assess the risk. Decide if a recall is needed and what label, trader label or consumer label. Depends on the real situation. You can make decision and assess the risk, low risk or high risk, and how much time do you have. And check. If New Zealand Food Safety agrees with your risk assessment and decision, check it. And communicate your decision to recall with impact businesses, maybe your upstream, maybe your downstream business, and consumers for a consumer label. And the last step is audit. Audit how much product was returned, review, and identify corrective actions. And here is some information. The time guideline. For example, faster or high risk. For example, the salmonella in multiple batches of baby food distributed nationally, it can be a dangerous situation. Thus, recall as soon as possible. And the second situation, for example, small soft plastic in a single batch of bread distributed in one region of New Zealand. Small soft plastic, they don't think it's a big risk. Thus, maybe slow for low risk. Slow for low risk. Okay, I will skip this one. Okay, the first one, investigate. Gather information, understand the problem. Okay, first of all, there are some examples. First, undeclared allergen. Second, foreign matter. Third, microbiological hazard, chemical hazard, and other problem with food. Let's check this. Undeclared allergy. What does it mean? Actually, in the US or in the New Zealand or Australia, some English countries, I studied those information. I found the undeclared allergen is one of the top problems to recall. For example, if I have product of, I don't have product. Okay. If I have a cookie, if I have a box of cookies here, and I use dairy, I use flour, I use sweet sugar, I use soybean oil, but I forgot to mention in our manufacture, in our plant, we also produce some seafood, for example, the fish cookies or something like this. Okay, and my product, no ingredients from seafood or fish, but it can be contaminated during the process. Then I need to declare we don't use any ingredient in this food, but in our plant, in our factory, we produce another type of product that has seafood, fish, or shrimp, something like this. And be careful if you are allergic to those food. And if they did not do this, we can call it undeclared allergen. Okay, what kind of allergen it is? What caused the problem? Incorrect packaging or labeling, incorrect ingredients, incorrectly labeled ingredients, cross-contamination. Okay, and how much allergic protein is present in each serving? Two affected product labels include the free from, or similar kind. It can be a serious problem. For example, if the person is allergic to peanuts, assume the person is allergic to the peanuts, and my product, $1 cookie, I announced peanuts free, it's peanuts free or gluten free, something like this. Because I bought your product because your label is something free, then I trust it. And now you say your product has been contaminated with those allergens. It can be dangerous. Thus, this kind of situation, it can be dangerous. It can be dangerous. Okay. And the second topic is foreign matter. What kind of foreign matter it is? What is the size or shape of the foreign matter? How many reports has been received with sieve, X-ray, or other control measurement? If it didn't work, how long has been going on? For example, the X-ray machine didn't work for maybe 3 days or 3 weeks, and you need to know what kind of situation you need to know. Okay, X-ray can detect, the machine can detect some foreign matters from the food, and now it didn't work. It can be a dangerous situation. Okay, then next. Okay, microbiological hazard. What kind of microorganism it is? Could the microorganism or any toxin it produces make someone sick, or there is a regulatory limit in your product? For example, aflatoxin. Aflatoxin is produced by a mold, Aspergillus, some species, and where could the microorganism have come from? From ingredients, raw material, people, equipment, environment, water, or even air. Okay, what did the microorganism get into the product? Have other products been exposed to? Was a heating step or other control measurement present? Okay. If it didn't work, how long has been going on? For example, if I have a raw material and we don't think the raw material is safe, but after cooking, after the heating process, we think it's relatively safe. But if a heating step or other control measurement, something with the measurement, something with the heating, it can be a risk. And additional sampling and testing of products or environmental may help determine the source and extent to the problem. Okay, and now let's watch this. Chemical hazard. What kind of chemical it is? Is it hazardous? How much of it present in your food? How much of your food will typically be eaten in one sitting? For example, if the concentration of the toxic compound is really high, but you just have one bite of the product or small amount of the product, and relatively the risk is lower. Okay. Where could the chemical have come from? From the ingredients, raw materials, equipment, cleaning, product, or environment, or water, Okay, other further problems, and try identical which products and batches are affected. What does it mean batches? Product and batches. Batches maybe is a group of working. For example, in $1 factory, we can make many cookies, and one batch of the cookie is maybe 1,000 pieces of cookies, or maybe 10,000 pieces of the cookies, and one batch it means is one working time and working group. Okay. And identify where the affected products are. What does it mean? Okay, if $1 product, one of famous cookies in Taoyuan, and some consumer complaints, some consumer complaints said something wrong with my cookies, and now I need to know where are those products. And put affected product in your control on hold. What is labeling with the hold? Don't move them unless the supervisor, I mean the general manager or your boss, allowed to remove those, to release those products. Okay, step 2, inform your verifier. In the beginning when translate verifier, then later I found it's a person, and the person did the verification, do the verifying work, and I translate as this one. Actually, you don't need to know my translation because we are English-based course, but just let you know, before I did the translation, we check the different definition and something like this, because we don't often use this verify this term in our country. Okay. Okay, so how about have 10-minute break, then later we can come back and take attendance, check the attendance. Okay, see you later.